Welcome to No Nonsense Nonprofits. Hi, I'm Sandy Ray, founder of Sandra E. Ray CPA, where we alleviate financial headaches so that you can create a bigger impact. Today, we're talking about donor management and cash transactions like Stripe and Square and those types of integrations that we can do with Bloomerang. We'll be guiding you through the basic steps to set up these integrations and give you a few tips and tricks. But by doing this, you're really going to be improving the processes in your accounting system. You're going to be saving your team's time by eliminating data entry. You're going to be improving the accuracy because the less data entry, the less data entry errors. And you're going to give your team some really great visibility to see into your finances at a much quicker time. So, we want to talk about why these integrations matter. If you're a nonprofit, you're using Square, you're using Stripe through your website or some other processor, through your donor management system, these transactions need to come into the accounting system. And the easiest way to do that is to set up these integrations. If you're using, for example, Stripe's e-commerce site, you can set it link up directly with Stripe, or you can set it up through platforms like DonorBox and Bloomerang, those kinds of things. It brings the information into your accounting system, and then you're managing the data. You're not spending a lot of time entering every single transaction. It really does help make sure that the data coming into QuickBooks is clean, your information is organized because it's in a certain space, you're audit ready because you have all those connections to those links to those transactions in the other applications, and you can do it without manual data entry. So let's just talk about some options. So let's, for example, just use Stripe. The native Stripe QuickBooks integration is basic, it's built in, and it's easy to use. But you can do things with third-party apps that make it more robust and customizable. There's a couple of apps out there. Snyder is one for detailed mapping of your information. Zapier is great for automated workflows. And then things like DonorBox and Classy focus on nonprofits and have a built-in QBO sync. Bloomerang is another one that comes to mind. So I'm going to share my screen. I just want to show you in QuickBooks where you can get to that point where you're able to set up these integrations. So I took a screenshot of a client. This is a screenshot, so I could eliminate all the client information. So I'm not able to move around, but it does give us an example of what to do. So once you're logged into QuickBooks, you're going to want to go down here to your apps. And the apps is going to give you the option of overview or find apps. So I've gone to the find app section, and I've actually, under search within industry, I looked for other services, and this is what came up. Now, there was many more options here, but since this is a screenshot, I'm not able to move around. But you can see that you've got all kinds of applications that are in here for various reasons. Bloomerang is a donor management software. You could do donor statements, DB Sync integration for QuickBooks. You have AI tools. Just there's some really cool things that you can do, and there's even more in there, I promise. So that's how you get to them. You would click on the card that you want, and then you would proceed from there to follow the integration steps. So if you're doing something like Stripe and QBO access, you're going to go in here, you're going to find the Stripe access, you're going to map your Stripe activity to your QBO accounts for sales, fees, refunds, and deposits. Maybe you're using classes or locations. You're going to configure how you want the sync to go. Is it an automatic sync? Happens multiple times a day or once a day at a certain time? Is it a manual sync? Do you actually have to go in and click a button? And you're going to have to decide how you want fees handled. and how payouts are going to be handled so that they match to the deposits. Does your processor deposit into your bank net of the fees, or do they deposit the gross fees and then take, say, on a monthly basis, the total fees out of your account separately? You have to look at that and when considering this integration, because the ultimate goal is to set this up so that the information comes in, it posts to the revenue and the fees expenses appropriately. But then as the bank feeds come in, you're able to match those bank feeds to those deposits from the integration, say with Stripe. You're going to want to make sure that you can verify the donor or customer information. So make sure the names, dates, donation purposes are captured when you're setting these up. If you can do that through customer names, you can do that through classes, you can do that through location, or you may just have to at some point manually go through. If it's so complicated, you may have to make notes and do a couple of things manually, but you can do that. You're really decreasing the number of transactions that you're entering manually. So if you do have a couple refinements that you have to make, you can focus on those. And I want to make sure that you, on a regular basis, you're reviewing the activity and you're reconciling it. You want to make sure that any clearing accounts that are set up are net to zero, and that you're reconciling your bank deposits every month so that your total revenue and your total expenses, or excuse me, your total revenue and your cash, those cash transactions match. You're going to also want to, as part of your review, look for unsynced transactions in that software. You may even want to pull a donations report and match it to the revenue in your QuickBooks. Those are some things that you can do on a regular basis, say monthly, to make sure that everything is syncing properly. Another thing that we like to do, we call it a red flag account. And one of my team members came up with this, and I just love it. We've got these various rules. If none of those rules apply, say we have a new type of donation, we forgot to set up a rule for the integration, then the final rule, the default rule, is that it would go to uncategorized income. So we're going to want to look at uncategorized income and make sure that there's no transactions there. So that was your first bonus tip. The second one is to post those app transactions first. In order to avoid duplication, we want to be able to match the bank feeds to the transactions that are already in QuickBooks. We don't want to be adding bank transactions for these deposits to QuickBooks. They should already be in QuickBooks through the integration. So if it's not finding a match, we have to track that down to find, just so that we avoid duplication. There may be a reason that we're going to enter it from the bank feed, but we want to do that research and look into that first. You're going to want to set up a monthly reminder to audit your integration. Like I said, let's look for those unsynced transactions. Let's do that check between the donor management system total transactions and QuickBooks total transactions. Using classes and location tracking in QuickBooks can help you with those restrictions, especially if you're running multiple campaigns or if you have multiple stores. And don't forget about data security. Ensure that your integration partner complies with your industry standards. So what's the next step? Pick a tool. Choose your integration tool, whether it's Stripe or Snyder or DonorBox or Bloomerang. Start the setup process and test a few transactions. If those work well, then go ahead and proceed with the integration. If they don't work well, figure out what's going on and do some tweaks to your system and test it again. And most importantly, build a habit of reviewing and reconciling to keep your books clean. Like I said, we're bringing in the same transactions from two different locations. The order that we enter them is important, and then those bank feeds need to be matched, not added. So I hope this was helpful for you today. And if you have any questions on this or any other topics that you would like us to cover, please put that in the comment section below. Of course, we always appreciate your likes, and I want to thank you for joining me. Remember, creating a bigger impact starts with stopping the nonsense. If you're dealing with nonsense in your nonprofit organization, we'd love to help you cut through the noise.